I know you're worried that Mortal Kombat 2 might suck. Yeah, the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie was a huge hit on HBO Max, becoming the most watched production there for a long time. But even with that success, many longtime fans of the game franchise criticized the plot, the characters, and several production choices. However, it seems like Warner actually listened to those complaints and improved a lot of things for Mortal Kombat 2, which releases in 2026. So with that in mind, I'm going to list some excellent reasons why you should trust Mortal Kombat 2. And I want you to tell me in the comments if I convinced you or not. Cole Young is no longer the protagonist. One of the biggest disappointments from the first movie was the decision to make Cole Young the main character, right? Let's be honest, that's not even up for debate. He was created exclusively for the movie and had absolutely no real connection to the games, which felt really strange to longtime fans. Sure, introducing a new character to serve as an entry point for casual audiences was an interesting idea, but the execution was terrible. Cole was a boring protagonist with no charisma, and he was always shoved into the center of the story, taking screen time away from the characters we actually wanted to see, like Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Kung Lao, Liu Kang, Shang Tsung, and so on. But now, in Mortal Kombat 2, everything indicates that this dynamic will change. Thank the Elder Gods. We've seen the leaks saying Cole Young will not be the absolute protagonist anymore, going from swipe up to barely relevant real quick, which opens the door for more focus on the characters fans truly want to see. This is huge because it gives the fans what they asked for the most, seeing their favorite fighters shine with more relevance. We'll finally get legendary characters like Johnny Cage, Kitana, and Shao Kahn taking the spotlight without living under the shadow of a protagonist as charismatic as a brick. On top of that, removing Cole gives the story room to become more collective, which is exactly how the games work. The plot never revolves around just one fighter, but around multiple warriors with their own goals, dilemmas, and motivations. Yes, Liu Kang has always been the protagonist, but never alone. And honestly, I don't even need to compare Liu Kang to Cole Young here. That would be straight up disrespectful.
True Shao Kahn. Let's be real. If there's one villain who represents Mortal Kombat to its core, it's Shao Kahn. Since his debut in Mortal Kombat 2 back in 1993, he became the franchise's iconic big boss. The guy is imposing, brutal, and strategic. He is the embodiment of cruelty. His way of conquering realms, his intimidating helmet, and that terrifying laugh always made players straight up crap their pants. In the 2021 movie, the production chose to only mention Shao Kahn as a distant threat, a shadow looming behind Shang Tsung but never actually appearing. That clearly meant they were saving him for a triumphant entrance, and honestly, that makes sense. A franchise like MK shouldn't waste a villain of this scale right in the first movie. Not to compare too much, but it would be like Marvel putting Thanos as the villain in the first Avengers. That'd be a total waste. Now, in Mortal Kombat 2, everything points to Shao Kahn being portrayed much closer to how he is in the games, and the trailer proves it. The first official glimpses show a muscular Shao Kahn with imposing armor, and a design very faithful to the games. The dude is massive, totally unlike that Shao Kahn from MK Annihilation, where he looked like a bald short dude who turned into a dragon that screamed like a dying pigeon. Come on. Another thing that gets fans hyped is the chance to finally see the true threat he represents. Unlike Shang Tsung, who's manipulative and always pulling strings behind the scenes, Shao Kahn is pure brute force, a walking nightmare. The guy uses violence without hesitation, and the trailer shows that clearly when he straight up kills King Jarrod with no remorse. And besides that, Shao Kahn is essential to expanding the MK universe, especially since the plan seems to be building this into an actual franchise with multiple spin-offs. More women in the film. One of the most exciting additions in Mortal Kombat 2 is the confirmation of more female characters in the cast. In the first movie, the only real standout was Sonya Blade, and Mileena ended up being a bit of a disappointment. That created a certain gap, especially because the franchise has always been known for its iconic female warriors. Now, we know that several fan-favorite fighters will show up. Kitana will apparently be a co-protagonist, Jade will appear, Sonya is returning, Sindel is also in the mix. Basically, strong names that the community truly loves. In the games, the female characters were never just supporting roles. They always had charisma, importance in the story, and fighting fighting styles that left a mark on the franchise. Kitana, for example, is fundamental to Outworld's lore, and now we'll see whether she'll have any connection with the Shao Kahn Melina we got in the first movie.
Using powers without fear. One of the biggest criticisms of the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie was the way character powers were handled. Even though some iconic abilities appeared, it seemed like there was some kind of shame or hesitation in embracing them. Many iconic moves were left on the cutting room floor, and honestly, that whole Arcana explanation was a major disaster. They could have just said their powers were manifestations of ki that can be unlocked through intense training. Done. No need to over-explain or invent nonsense. Everything is right there in the games. But now in Mortal Kombat 2, the movie promises to use powers with no fear, naturally and faithfully to the games. According to rumors, the whole Arcana thing will be tossed in the trash and no one will even mention it. The sequel is also expected to deliver more creative, spectacular fights full of actual magic. This freedom to use powers also brings the chance for bolder fatalities that stay true to the spirit of the game. Stylized, exaggerated violence is part of what makes MK what it is. There's no way around it. So everything indicates that this sequel will deliver scenes that mix brutality with faithfulness, satisfying both hardcore fans and casual audiences. And that is exactly what we want to see. Deaths and violence. Since the very first game, fatalities have defined the franchise, turning Mortal Kombat into a pop culture icon and a target of censorship debates back in the 90s. So whenever a Mortal Kombat movie hits theaters, fans expect exactly that. Intense, bloody, creative fights. And that's something we definitely can't complain about in the 2021 movie. We got some great moments like Kung Lao's classic fatality against Nitada, Jax smashing Reiko's head, Sub-Zero causing absolute chaos, and a lot more. In Mortal Kombat 2, rumors say we're getting even more of that, in larger quantity and better quality. That means fights that are way more violent, iconic moves adapted to the screen, and blood spraying right in our faces. And just to be clear, the violence in Mortal Kombat has never been gratuitous. It's part of its identity, a trademark that sets the franchise apart from everything else. The brutal deaths serve a narrative purpose. Each fatality shows that this tournament is not a joke. It's not about friendly competition. It's about survival for entire realms. This is blood in the eyes, screaming in the arena stuff, man. The tournament. If there was one major disappointment in the first Mortal Kombat 2021, it was the absence of the tournament, right? The story chose to focus on a kind of warm-up round, introducing characters and setting things up for future events, but let's be real, Mortal Kombat without the actual tournament is a scam. The absence of the tournament frustrated people who expected to see the official battles between Earthrealm and Outworld because since the very first game in 1992, the competition has always been the heart of the story, bringing warriors from different realms to fight for the fate of entire worlds. Yes, I know that over time the games moved away from the tournament structure, but everything started with the tournament. And it would make sense for the movies to follow that too, right? Well, now in Mortal Kombat 2, we're finally getting what we've been dreaming of, the tournament actually happening. And that's goosebumps material, because it means the classic rules, the historical rivalries, all that iconic MK vibe we saw in the games will actually appear on screen. And the stakes are higher now. It's not just about the survival of one character, but about defending Earthrealm against Shao Kahn's tyranny. The presence of the tournament also opens the door for amazing moments, and we can expect iconic matchups straight out of the games, man. Another huge bonus is that the tournament setting gives the movie enormous creative freedom, allowing classic arenas to be recreated in live action, like the Pit, the Statue Arena, or Khan's Throne. And the trailer has already shown several iconic locations that will appear in the story. If you're not hyped, I don't know what to tell you. I've got chills. Bi-Han returns to the battlefield. Just like Cole Young being the protagonist was something that 95% of the fandom agrees was terrible, Sub-Zero being the main antagonist was something that at least 98% agree was great, right? There's no denying it. Joe Taslim delivered a terrifying, ruthless, bloodthirsty, straight-up psychopathic Sub-Zero. Exactly how Bi-Han has always been in the games. The version we saw in the movie was Bi-Han, the first Sub-Zero, portrayed as a true predator, hunting down the heroes with shocking cruelty. His ancestral rivalry with Hanzo Hasashi, Scorpion, was easily the best thing about the film and gave us two incredible fight scenes, the opening and the final one, which only loses impact because the film keeps cutting to Cole Young trying to save his family. In the end, Bi-Han is defeated by Scorpion in an epic battle, hinting that his journey was over. That's what the general audience believed, but we knew what was coming. Anyone familiar with Mortal Kombat lore knows that Bi-Han's death isn't the end. It's only the beginning. In the games, after being defeated, he returns as Noob Saibot, one of the darkest and most feared figures in the franchise. And what happens in the movie universe? Exactly that. Bi-Han returning, not as Sub-Zero, but as Noob Saibot. Bi-Han's return expands the story dramatically, because as Noob Saibot, he abandons any trace of honor and becomes a vengeful specter that literally fights from the shadows. Seeing Bi-Han return is a promise that Mortal Kombat 2 won't waste the most impactful character of the first film, and it's something that will please both hardcore fans and casual viewers alike.
Johnny Cage takes center stage. Few Mortal Kombat characters are as charismatic as Johnny Cage. He's the annoying guy we love to hate. Since his debut in the games, he has won fans over with his sarcastic humor, flashy personality, and, of course, his fighting style mixing martial arts with Hollywood stardom. The first film didn't show him, and honestly, he could have been the protagonist instead of Cole Young, but the production chose to tease him only in the final scene. Now, in Mortal Kombat 2, Johnny Cage will finally shine, and that's great news because he's not just comic relief. Cage is essential to the franchise's mythology, playing key roles alongside Liu Kang, Sonya, and Raiden. Another great point is the actor playing him, Karl Urban. The guy is the biggest star in the entire cast, and whenever he shows up in anything, he never disappoints. Leaks indicate that Johnny Cage will be the main lead of the story alongside Kitana, which is great because he's a fan favorite, played by a great actor, and far more charismatic than the former protagonist. It's going to be hilarious seeing his reaction to entering a crazy, violent, chaotic world, since he starts off skeptical with zero knowledge about magic or other realms, just like us. Poor Liu Kang. Not this time again, my friend. Kitana and the expansion of realm lore. We already mentioned Kitana earlier when talking about the female warriors, but Kitana deserves her own spotlight. Her arrival in Mortal Kombat 2 is, without question, one of the most anticipated moments among fans. Present in the game since Mortal Kombat 2, 1993, she isn't just one of the franchise's most iconic fighters, she's also a fundamental pillar of Mortal Kombat's mythology. Princess of Outworld and adopted daughter of Shao Kahn, Kitana represents both power and deep narrative richness when we talk about lore. Her inclusion in the new film isn't just to expand the female roster, it's to really open the gates to Outworld. Up until now, we've only seen glimpses of that dark realm ruled by Khan. With Kitana, we finally have the opportunity to explore more of that world, its political conflicts, and especially her relationship with her father. We'll also get to find out whether the Kitana from MK2 connects to Milena we saw in the first movie. In the games, their story is extremely important, yet MK 2021 treated Milena like a disposable henchwoman. Visually, Kitana looks perfect. The trailer already showed her in action, and honestly, there's nothing to complain about. The outfit, the mask, the razor-sharp fans, everything looks amazing. Adeline Rudolph delivers visually. Another great point is that new realms will be introduced in the film, such as the Nether Realm, and Kitana can serve as the perfect character to explain these worlds and everything involving the magic and the tournament.
The revenants, or corrupted, are warriors who aren't simply killed, they return to life under the control of dark forces, such as Quan Chi or even Shinnok, becoming soulless, corrupted versions of who they once were. They have a striking visual style, gray skin, glowing eyes, and a sinister aura. And MK2 promises to bring this concept to the big screen, including with one of the coolest characters from the first movie, Kung Lao. In the games, we've seen Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Kitana, Nightwolf, and many others being turned into revenants. And this concept became absolutely essential in the narrative of recent eras. Revenants aren't just an idea, they are part of the very core of Mortal Kombat lore. Another great thing is that the revenants add a horror element to the plot, bringing a sort of undead vibe into the story. If this is explored properly, it has massive potential to succeed. Quan Chi, and the setup for Mortal Kombat 3. The official confirmation of Mortal Kombat 3 before Mortal Kombat 2 has even released makes one thing very clear. Warner isn't just producing standalone films. They're building a fully planned saga with villains, realms, and conflicts mapped out ahead of time. And in that strategy, one name naturally rises as a central piece: Quan Chi. While many fans expect him to play a major role in MK2, everything points to his presence being limited, almost discreet, and that's not a problem. Actually, it's exactly how it should be. Quan Chi has never been the type of character who operates out in the open. His power lies in manipulation, political maneuvering, and his ability to influence full-scale wars without ever putting his face on the front lines. In MK2, this will most likely be handled subtly: short appearances, rituals hidden in the Netherrealm, brief interactions that reveal his silent influence. He will be there, but never center stage, because his real purpose is to set up something much bigger. And that something bigger goes by the name of Shinnok, who is expected to be the main antagonist of Mortal Kombat 3. In the games, Quan Chi is directly responsible for freeing and empowering Shinnok, orchestrating his rise, and triggering a war involving every realm. MK2, therefore, will act as the foundation for that storyline. The inclusion of the Netherrealm, Bi-Han's transformation into Noob Saibot, the Revenants, and the expansion of dark magic all point toward the franchise heading precisely in that cosmic level direction. So Quan Chi serves as the link between MK2 and MK3. He doesn't need long scenes or flashy fights to be essential. All it takes is his hidden moves beginning to shape the coming chaos. If MK2 is the movie of the tournament, Shao Kahn, and brute power, MK3 will be the movie of manipulation, soul corruption, and the advance of the Netherrealm. Quan Chi is only just beginning his work, and by the time MK3 arrives, it'll be clear that everything we saw was part of his plan from day one. That's it. Thanks for watching.